that, got that.
You do anything with that?
Nope, you're on it live.
Yeah, again. Let me log in. Hopefully, it'll be okay. There are going to be more bells and whistles tonight since Kirby's here. No. Like a light show or something. I should do that sometimes. Maybe like Chicago Bowl. Sounds like a big. Maybe some keystrokes. You got to do something different for every computer or something. What's factory? Got a minute. Find a referee.
Not yet. I got somebody coming to me.
You know Eric Klein? Eric Klein? So I'd use. Might even have the number. 297-3293. But Andy Soul's father-in-law. Oh, something. We're good. As long as it doesn't interfere with the work I need it to do. I don't need a whole row. Filters on your cases. That term used before. We're good.
Okay. I'll call the September 20th City Council meeting to order. Call the roll.
John Hawkins?
Yeah.
Matt McKinney? Brian Miller?
Here.
Logan Welch?
Here. Call for motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number one, petitions, communications, or requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting except ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Anyone have any thoughts? Anyone have any public information? I guess it's not council business, but thanks to everybody that came to the dinner last night. Taste the food. Everybody had a good time. I believe. I did anyway. Maybe it's too good. Anyway, So minutes and claims, the following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from its list, we can consider it on its normal sequence on the agenda. A, minutes of September 7th. B is a resolution on payroll for period ending September 11th and paid on September 17th. C is a resolution on bills and approved fund list. That was it.
I'll move to approve A, B, and C collectively.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 3 is general agenda, public hearing.
It's on you.
B is a resolution to approve the commitment of matching funds for application of funding to the Iowa Finance Authority in support of part of Iowa Regional Housing Trust Fund. Carla, did you want to talk on that one at all? It's our 3rd year. Now we'll be doing that.
You are right, it's our 3rd year, and we're going out now for the 2022 year. And this year, our percentage was lowered by IFA to 60% of the first 275. So it dropped us way down. It dropped us 1,000 less than last year that we gave. But by 2025, it will be up to the 25% again.
Right.
But it's gradually going back up. I've gone out for public donations already from the financial institutions that have heard back from 2 out of the 4. And what they do then, everything that I can get from Hamilton County goes into Hamilton County, whereas the IFA money is divided between Webster County and Hamilton County. In 2019, we had 7 projects in Hamilton County, and all were from Webster City, and 27 projects in Hamilton County, of which 4 were from Webster City, and she is still working on 3 that are filed in 2020, but will be completed now in 2021. So Webster City is definitely capitalizing on this program, and it is it's a 5-year loan, but it will be raised after the 5 years, so it can be a grant, 10,000 max. Put in a plea out on Facebook and on our website today for those that meet the 30% of the median income, because we have to prove so many come from that income category also. So anybody that reaches or will show 30% median income criteria will be met to apply for this. We welcome all of them.
Yeah. Well, it's a good way to get some places fixed up, that's for sure. Thanks, Carl. For promotion.
So moved.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item A is a public hearing on the disposal of city-owned property located on 2nd Street for Susan E. Erickson of Woods City, Iowa. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Received no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. So, who wants to? You want to talk on this at all?
Yeah, this is 5 foot, where the sewer is current building in, with the addition of the steel, et cetera, she will now 5 foot, which will then encompass the entire common wall, so that the city would only have responsibility for the green space that is currently located there as a result of the food school being taken down. What happens if someone wants to build right after that building? They can't build up to it, they can build within 5 foot of it, there's no setback. Right, Carla? So there will be a gap there.
It'll be a little awkward to do something with that foundation the way it is now, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So call for motion to, sorry. We could do a vote on that one first, don't we?
You need to read the
Oh, you want
resolution.
Okay. So it's a resolution approving the disposal of city-owned property and authorising execution of a quitclaim deed conveying the city-owned property located on Second Street to Susan E. Erickson of Webster City, Iowa.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. C is a request, request for approval for additional funds to eliminate all of the hazardous mold in the depot basement, and also approve the painting option to preserve the historic building and its artifacts, and to eliminate any health concerns it could cause in the future. So that, Larry, there's a lot more mold in there than originally thought. And did you want to come up further? I see you gave us a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the areas.
So originally with the project, we had the First Towns County Courthouse and the depot project. The courthouse has been completed. It was like 4,300 or 4,500 roughly, or 4,600, I can't remember exactly. That was to the courthouse basement. That has been done, and we're okay with that. So then the disaster group went over to the basement of the depot, started working in there, and once they started tearing into the drywall, the original format or the bid was to do the flood line, which is 4 foot and down. And once they got in there and started tearing out the walls, 4 foot and down, they discovered more mold behind 3/4 of the basement is sheetrock down there, drywall. So he started tearing into that, and he said it's all the way behind all the sheetrock, all the way around, and then there's more in the rafters of the basement, and then partially my fault, I never really got it in about the artifacts in the basement. I never knew much. I thought it was just doing structural, but there's a lot of stuff in the basement that needs to be HEPA bagged, cleaned. And so in order for it to go out or go back in the building, it has to all be cleaned and hand done. There were 25 pictures that they had to do, but they already did those. So there's additional cost to this. It's going to be roughly, what the estimate is there, $11,000. So that's to go in and tear out everything in that basement. All the ceiling panels will be tore out. The artifacts, there's some war uniforms, there's just a lot of boxes and stuff that's in there. We did go, I bought probably 25, 26 totes, plastic totes. So once they get them out of the cardboard, that'll all be thrown away. We'll put everything back in totes once they clean everything. And we should, to have that problem taken care of. Now, the additional option is once they get all the cement walls, the sheetrock off the cement walls, it'll just be all brick or block basement. And working with the gentleman there, he said a good way to ensure that we won't have a problem again with our air quality that we'll have after, we get this done, we'll have air, we'll have dehumidification, heating, and air conditioning. So that'll help. But if they come back in and paint all the walls with a microbial paint to kind of seal or encapsulate the cement so there's no more mold or it paints over it. I mean, they can get it all out of the cement, and that, but this would just ensure that the basement, all the way around that basement, would be sealed. Prior to going in, I did have him do a test. It's a test they do where they set out things throughout the building. There was no mold upstairs. So there's nothing upstairs where all the artifacts are for display. However, there was a lot of mold downstairs in the basement. He will do an exit mold when they're done to see what we have or what they've got done. Now, they did it at the courthouse, and it's done. They have all the molds out. They put the canisters in there. They tested it with state laboratory. There's no mold in that building as of right now that's going to hurt anybody. And that is, the state laboratory did that. So
we're not going to lose anything that's down there, they'll be able to clean everything.
Once they clean everything, the only thing that's in jeopardy is like newspaper stuff. Anything like cardboard or paper is what attracts the mold. So there could be some newspaper items, but none of the main artifacts the stuff, like if there's in a uniform, they can vacuum out that, they can spray the disinfectant on it to kill mold. They already did all the pictures. I mean, there was some staining from where mold was, but it still doesn't look bad. They have some before and after pictures. I don't know if you guys saw that. So it's just kind of a mess. And once they got into that basement, just like cancer, just everywhere. So in order to just keep finishing through with this project, I think we just have to kind of keep going. It's your guys' decision on the extra. If you think the walls need painted, I don't think we'll ever put sheetrock or drywall back in there. So if you guys do decide to paint them walls, I think it'd be a benefit to the areas, and it's not a bad price to have everything painted. So,
No, it seals it up.
yeah.
So it's 11,138.62, whatever, for the removal of the mold, the additional mold.
Yeah,
And then is it 2,326.66 for the paint?
for the painting. That same company does the painting as well.
Yeah, and financially, this is something that was originally budgeted in the current operating budget, so, as we move forward in the fiscal year and the budget takes height later in the year, it's something that's gonna have to be factored in terms of a budget amendment, that would go against, the expenses or revenues, or looking at cuts down the road and other operations that there's cost savings to be had. The other part of this is obviously we have the mold problem in large part because of the heating and cooling environment in the basement. And with the addition of the heating and cooling new systems that we put in there, there'll be added operational expenses moving on into the next fiscal years that have to be accounted for. As I said, that's something we want to, where it has to adjust for, but depending on the use of the building, what temperature and climate controls we set it at can be pushed effectively.
So once the project's done, city staff has not put in the air conditioning and heating units yet. So they're kind of just sitting there, because the final thing is, they gotta do the heating runs, they gotta vacuum all those out. And I think he said we have to start the heater and then he gets it all, and then after that, then we can let it go. And it will have air conditioning, heating, and then we have to add 2 dehumidifiers in the basement as well. So I think with those things, I think we should be covered, and that basement should be good, which is basically the only storage area for the complex. So there's additional stuff that will be stored down there once this is all taken care of.
Because you rotate artifacts in and out, and different displays, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, different times there's some stuff that's upstairs that's been there, that's just there, but there's some stuff that rotate in and out. And then the last several years, of course, we haven't been open, and they're gonna do some reconstruction, so, there's some stuff that hasn't been put up yet that's still kind of in the basement that we gotta get out, treat it, and then we'll put it back in, and then eventually it'll go through and we rotate, and they'll have different displays and different stuff like that. Depends on what they're against.
So this has been the plan, right, to get climate control and humidity control in our one and only museum. So I'm excited about that. And again, of course, if there's additional mold they found, we kind of went into this project knowing there may be a change order, usually when you dig into stuff like this area. So no, I appreciate their work and their candor on this. And I think the ceiling of the block walls is just a logical next step.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I move to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item D is a request for authorization to seek bids and proceed with the lowest bidder if bids come in back under 50,000 for a concrete crack ceiling. We have a whole list of streets to be done. So many thousand people.
You want to tell us about it? Sure. So, this is kind of preventative action, so anytime, you're trying to preserve either asphalt or concrete, first thing, and most important is crack sealing. Last year, we combined 2 fiscal years into one and did $100,000 in crack sealing for asphalt. This year, we're gonna focus on concrete, and so we have sectioned out the town and trying to make our way throughout, to preserve, our streets and make them last as long as possible. So
that's for the crack ceiling. Any other questions?
No. So it's fine. You might as well say it then.
I move to approve. Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. E is a request from the street department supervisor to order for authorisation to seek bids and proceed if bids come back under $50,500 for the purchase of a 2022 pickup truck with utility box.
Yeah, so, the truck we're replacing is a 2003 Ford F-250. It's got 80,000 miles on it. It does not have a utility box. In the past, Laney, the old supervisor, that was his contract that he drove around. It is going to be replacing, the way we do it is the crews that are out using it the most, kind of the new truck goes to the top, and it kind of filters down. With this new truck, with the utility box, no matter what, who's around or what we need to be doing, we're running 3 crews and one full-time guy doing locates and GPSing. There will be a truck available with a toolbox with tools at their need.
Okay. Yes. And having the utility box is necessary.
So moved. Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thanks, Brandon. Item F is a resolution approving the official city street financial report.
Yeah,
I guess it's just
it's a requirement of the state to file this report every year by September 30th, and it just outlines the costs associated with the street maintenance and funds associated with those. The report details both salaries as well as projects specific to CIP, and small things such as postage and supplies that goes towards awarding bids and advertising the bids and things of that sort.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item G is a resolution approving and executing an agreement between the city of Webster City, Iowa, and Iowa Economic Development Authority. Iowa Downtown Resource Center for the Community Catalyst and Remediation Grant Program. Zach, you gonna talk on this?
So these are, this one and the next one are both, the city of Webster City received the Catalyst grant as part of the Elks building project. And in order to accept the funds, you have to pass both the agreement between the city and IEDA to receive the grant funds, and then also the city, and then with WC, which is the owner of the Elks building, to ensure that they get the work done within the 2-year time frame.
I want to provide some quick background just because it's been a multi-year project, and then it gets kind of confusing for people about how this project came about and how the funding for it came to be. Originally, it dates back to 2018, around the last year I was here. And as when we were looking at a lot of the downtown buildings and a lot of the deteriorated conditions of some of those buildings and where they were going, we're trying to avoid some situation we encountered with the food building. And also at that time, we had CDBG funds that were used as part of revolving loan funds for economic purposes that dated back to 1992. In 2018, the IEDA told the city that they no longer wanted the city to use those funds as a revolving loan economic development mechanism, and instead spend down the entirety of those funds. And so they really have steered towards direction of downtown revitalization, and part of our reuse plan that was updated in 2018 included downtown revitalization facade improvements. That led to looking at the Elks building. It was a nuisance property that was deteriorating and was going to be a bigger challenge for the city to navigate from a nuisance enforcement perspective. IEDA was supportive of a plan for its ability to have a positive impact on the community while efficiently spending down those funds that they wanted us to spend down. The project the caveat to that in 2018 was that the project had to begin that calendar year, and so that really culminated in launching what has become the Elks Building project and revitalization efforts between list that we see in the city. Initially, the building was purchased for $40,000 and then sold back to list WC in 2019, in large part because of some of the restrictions the city would encounter with using TBD funds that would limit its uses for a period of at least 10 years or more. In May of 2020, the construction contract was awarded to Webster Construction to begin on those facade improvements, really shoring up the exterior of the building. Total CDBG funds have been roughly about $600,000. The CDBG funds are not they're not city funds that you or normally use for other things such as public safety or parks and recreation. They're separate funds, community development block grants that are administered and funded from IDEA. In terms of the catalyst program, this was something that the council had approved and agreed to match $50,000 as part of the competitive grant application back in January of this year. With the maximum grant that was provided to the city, awarded to the city, I would say of $100,000 with an additional $50,000 from the matching funds from the city making the project $150,000. Those funds are going to go towards the interior improvements for the building, things such as constructing the rear elevator, the addition of a ramp, updating the building's electrical, plumbing, and HVAC system, installing the sprinkler system, refinishing what we're setting in support beams to level the bottom floor, rehabbing and replacing in-kind tune ceilings, painting light fixtures, rebuilding the surface staircase, new floors, and restrooms, and the list goes on and on. So this really is an effort led by LIFT WC and quite an excessive list of interior improvements that $150,000 is going to just be a drop in the bucket in comparison to some of the larger items and more expensive items that they were going to have to if they were to restore that building.
Okay. So I need a motion to, for the agreement.
We'll move.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And then H is a resolution approving and executing a development agreement between the City of Webster, Iowa, and a local initiative for transformation with WC Incorporated for the Community Catalyst and Remediation Grant Program. So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And then item I is a motion on street closure request from the Webster City High School National Honor Society for homecoming parade to be held October 1st this year.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 4 is reports and recommendations, officers, boards and commissions. We have A, City Manager reports for August 2021. B, Police Department report for August. Police Department nuisance report for August. The Fire Department report for August. Inspection Department daily log for August. Hamilton County Solid Waste Commission agenda packet for meeting on the beginning of September. Council committee report. That's it.
I will say, so we had our work session last meeting talking about merging or Riverview acquiring a bunch of daycare. They've decided to go a different route, so we're all on our own at this point.
Okay. So we need someone to approve.
We need a motion to
Motion to
approve
approve A through G or A.
A through F.
So moved.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Anyone else have anything for us tonight? Call for motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thanks, everybody. We're adjourned.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
No deal.
Thanks, I'll let you back.